Here's a long-form story draft that begins directly from the title and is suitable for a 10 to 20-minute narrated video. My son threw me out into the rain and said, "Don't come back." 3 hours later he called me begging. The rain was coming down so hard that I could barely see the end of the driveway. At 70 years old, I stood there soaked to the bone, clutching a small duffel bag with everything I had managed to grab before my son slammed the front door in my face. His final words still echoed in my ears. "Don't come back." The door had shut, the lock clicked, and just like that, the boy I had raised, protected, and loved for 42 years had thrown me out of my own home. Or at least, what used to be my home. I stood in the storm for several seconds, unable to move. Not because of the rain. Because of the heartbreak. Neighbors peeked through curtains. Cars passed by. Nobody knew what had just happened. Nobody knew that the man standing alone in the storm had spent decades sacrificing everything for his family. I slowly walked toward the bus stop at the end of the street. Each step felt heavier than the last. The rain soaked through my jacket. My shoes filled with water. Yet none of it hurt as much as the memory of my son's face. There had been no hesitation. No guilt. No sadness. Only anger. The kind of anger that blinds people. 3 months earlier, things had been different. At least, that's what I thought. After my wife passed away, loneliness became a constant companion. The house felt enormous. Every room reminded me of her. Every photograph carried memories. Every meal felt incomplete. My son, Ryan, insisted I move in with him. "Dad, you're not staying alone. I'll be fine." "No, you're family. You belong with us." At the time, I believed him. His wife, Melissa, welcomed me politely. My 2 grandchildren were excited. For the first few weeks, everything seemed perfect. I cooked dinner, picked up the kids from school, helped around the house. I thought I was contributing. I thought I was helping. Then little things started changing. Conversations stopped when I entered rooms. Melissa became distant. Ryan grew impatient. Every suggestion I made became an argument. Every opinion became a problem. I kept telling myself it was temporary. Stress, work pressure, life. But deep down, I knew something else was happening. One evening, I accidentally overheard Melissa speaking to Ryan in the kitchen. "How long is he staying?" The question hit me like a punch. Ryan lowered his voice. "I don't know. We need our space. He's my father. And this is our house." I quietly returned to my room before they noticed. That night, I barely slept. The following weeks became increasingly uncomfortable. I tried staying out of the way. I spent more time outside. More time at libraries. More time walking. Anything to avoid being a burden. Then came the argument. The argument that changed everything. It started over something ridiculous. My granddaughter Emily had forgotten her lunch. I drove it to her school. When I returned, Melissa was furious. Apparently she had wanted Emily to learn responsibility. According to her, I was interfering with parenting. Voices were raised. Tempers exploded. Ryan came home in the middle of it. Instead of calming things down, he chose a side. Not mine. For the first time in my life, my son looked at me like I was the problem. The discussion escalated quickly. Years of frustration surfaced. Resentments emerged. Words were spoken that could never be taken back. Then Ryan pointed toward the door. "If you're so unhappy here, leave." I stared at him. Surely he didn't mean it. Surely this was anger talking. But then he repeated it, louder. "Leave." The room went silent. Even the children stopped moving. I looked around hoping someone would say something. Anyone. Nobody did. Then came the sentence that shattered my heart. "Don't come back." And that's how I found myself standing in the rain. Alone. Homeless. Rejected. 3 hours later, I was sitting inside a small 24-hour diner across town. The waitress had taken pity on me. She brought hot coffee and a bowl of soup. When I tried paying, she shook her head. "It's on the house." I smiled. "Thank you." She shrugged. "My father would be about your age." Simple kindness. The kind that arrives when you need it most. I sat by the window watching rain streak across the glass, trying to understand how life had changed so quickly. Then I noticed someone struggling outside. A young woman stood beside a disabled vehicle. The hood was open. 2 small children sat inside. The rain poured relentlessly. Most people drove past without stopping. I don't know why I got up. Maybe because helping others was all I had left. Maybe because my own pain made me recognize theirs. Whatever the reason, I grabbed my jacket and walked outside. Need help? The woman looked relieved. My car won't start. I examined the engine. The problem was obvious. A loose battery connection. 10 minutes later, the vehicle started. The woman nearly cried. You have no idea how much this helps. I smiled. I think I do. Before leaving, she handed me a business card. I'm a property manager. If you ever need anything, call me. I slipped the card into my pocket without thinking much about it. Back inside the diner, the waitress placed a fresh cup of coffee in front of me. Then my phone rang. Ryan. I stared at the screen. Part of me wanted to ignore it. Part of me couldn't. I answered. Hello. His voice sounded different. Panicked. Desperate. Dad. The anger was gone. Completely gone. What happened? Silence. Then I heard him take a shaky breath. It's Emily. My heart stopped. What about Emily? We can't find her. Every thought vanished. Every hurt feeling disappeared. Nothing mattered except my granddaughter. What do you mean you can't find her? His voice cracked. She left. The story came out in fragments. After I left, the tension in the house remained. Emily had been devastated by what happened. She adored me. Always had. Apparently she heard more of the argument than anyone realized. While Melissa and Ryan continued arguing upstairs, Emily quietly packed a small backpack and slipped out of the house. Nobody noticed for nearly an hour. By the time they realized she was gone, darkness had fallen. Rain continued. Police had been called. Neighbors were searching. Nobody could find her. Ryan's voice trembled. Dad, please. For several seconds, I remained silent. 3 hours earlier he had thrown me into a storm. Now he was calling for help. Some people would have hung up. Some people would have said no. Some people would have demanded an apology first. Instead, I grabbed my coat. Tell me where you are. The relief in his voice was immediate. Within 30 minutes, I arrived back in the neighborhood. Police vehicles lined the streets. Flashlights moved through yards and parks. Concern filled every face. Ryan ran toward me the moment he saw me. His eyes were red. He looked broken. Not angry. Not proud. Broken. Dad. I nodded. Let's find her. The search continued. An hour passed. Then another. The rain refused to stop. Officers checked abandoned buildings. Volunteers searched wooded areas. Nothing. No sign of Emily. Around midnight, a memory surfaced. Something small. Something most people would overlook. 2 weeks earlier, Emily had shown me a treehouse hidden in a nearby nature preserve. Her secret place. Her safe place. I immediately told police. Within minutes, search teams redirected. Ryan and I followed. The hike through the woods was difficult. Mud covered everything. Branches snapped beneath our feet. Finally, a flashlight beam found movement. There, curled inside the treehouse, shivering, crying, Emily. The moment Ryan saw her, he collapsed to his knees. Relief overwhelmed him. Police carefully helped her down. A medic wrapped her in blankets. She wasn't seriously injured, just frightened, cold, exhausted. Then something happened nobody expected. Emily looked directly at me. Not her father, me, and she started crying harder. She wrapped her arms around me. Grandpa. I held her tightly. It's okay. Her voice trembled. I thought you'd never come back. The words struck everyone like lightning. Even Ryan. Especially Ryan. Because in that moment he finally understood what his anger had done. Not just to me, to his daughter, to his family, to himself. Back at the hospital, doctors confirmed Emily would be fine. The tension slowly faded. Relief replaced fear. Around 3 in the morning, Ryan approached me in the waiting room. For a long time, neither of us spoke. Finally, he sat beside me. His shoulders slumped. His eyes lowered. I was wrong. The words barely escaped his mouth. I know. Tears formed. I don't know what's happened to me. I remained silent. He continued. Mom dies. Work gets stressful. Bills pile up. Problems keep coming. His voice cracked. And somehow I started taking everything out on the one person who never stopped helping me. For the first time all night, I saw my son again. Not the angry man from earlier. The little boy I raised. The teenager who needed guidance. The young father trying to hold everything together. Just a flawed human being making terrible decisions. Then he surprised me. He took my hand, something he hadn't done since childhood, and quietly said the words I never expected to hear. Dad, please forgive me. The waiting room fell silent. Machines beeped softly in distant hallways. Outside, the storm finally began to fade. I looked through the window at the first signs of dawn. Then back at my son. The same son who had thrown me out only hours earlier. The same son who had called me begging. The same son who now sat beside me carrying more regret than I could imagine. And in that moment, all I could see was family.